So Clay, you spent nearly 2 decades at Google, and you are one of the leaders I really respect and a big fan of your work at Google and at Sierra. And so you touched, you had your fingerprints over almost virtually every part of Google, from massively successful product like a Google Search, Ads, Workspace, G Suite Workspace, including Gmail and the Google Docs, and also to leading, building forward-looking products like AR, VR, Google Lens, to leading Google Labs that incubated many projects like Notebook ARM, AR Studio, and the things go on and go on. So you have a very influential position at Google. It's kind of a dream job for many innovators like yourself, and invented the Google Glasses long before Meta's Ray-Ban. So what?
Sergey invented Google Glass. Okay. It predated my involvement in hardware.
Okay,
so
got it.
Credit where credit is due.
Yeah. Thank you for clarification. So, so what inspired you to leave Google and start Sierra?
Well, first of all, thank you for that very generous introduction. And JC, I mean, you were working on AI before it was cool, and I think way before anyone saw what it would turn into. And so I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you again for the kind introduction. I really did have my dream job at Google, running Google Labs. I spent most of the last 10 years working for Sundar, building things that I thought that should exist in the world and that Google should be doing. Google Lens was probably one of the more interesting versions of that, where you could see what was happening with image embedding models and the ability to take an image and figure out, is this a peony, a blueberry muffin, a chihuahua, and tell you about it. That's where it started, and actually early on it was difficult to distinguish between blueberry muffins and chihuahuas' faces. Google it, it's harder than you think. But I did have my dream job, and it was such a privilege to spend 18 years at one of the great companies that has ever existed, and to see excellence up close, and to get to build products at the scale that Google exists at. For me, it was quite emotional leaving Google, but I was also very clear-eyed about it. And I'd always wanted to start a company. I started my first company as a 13-year-old building websites, and thought I'd be at Google for a couple of years and then leave and start something. Google ended up being exactly the right place for me, where I just had opportunity after opportunity. Number two, the opportunity to start and build something with a close friend. My co-founder, Brett, and I have known each other now for 20 years and had always wanted to work together. And then third, I just couldn't unsee what I had seen unfolding in and around language models. And if ever there is a time to start a company, it's when the proverbial deck of cards has been shuffled by a new technology that makes a set of things possible that just simply wasn't before. And I think it advantages, on a relative basis, new companies that can invent and discover from first principles. And so those three things came together, and the planets are never going to align like this again. And that was what motivated me to start the company with Brett.
God, thank you for sharing. So how's your Google experience leading products at massive scale, like a Gmail or Google Docs, and as well as creating zero-one innovative products like AR, VR, Notebook ARM, and so on, and influenced how you run your startup?
Well, there are things I've brought from Google and that have really helped, and there are things that I've had to unlearn from Google. And I'll start with the unlearning bit. Google, one of its great strengths was starting with a technical insight and applying that to product development. So start with the technology, and then whether it was PageRank or the ability to store email cheaply that made 2 gigabytes of Gmail storage possible early on. When you're building for the enterprise, gosh, you need to start with deeply understanding the customer's problem and building to it and building technology to it, as opposed to, here's a hammer we have, what are the nails that we can find? And I myself at Google, more times than I would like to admit, had a really neat hammer and was looking for things that looked like nails. And, well, that one kind of looks like a nail, like, let's try. And it just simply doesn't work in the enterprise. And so we began the company by doing deep customer discovery and actually working closely with half a dozen, we called them design partners, close customers for whom we built the first version of our product and platform. And really, it was a collaboration where we discovered in working closely with them what were the needs, what do we need to build, how far down in the kind of AI stack did we need to build in order to be able to create the agents at the level of quality and sophistication that we wanted. So that was an unlearning. So customer first, customer obsessed, which I think for all Google's strengths, at least during my time, was not one of them there. Things that I have brought, so much of what I worked on, certainly in the past decade, and I think a theme for Google was building and inventing at kind of the boundary of what's possible and not yet possible, the kind of zone of the barely doable. And so it is not a simple matter of programming in most cases. It's invention, discovery, trial and error, posing a hypothesis, seeing what works. And when we started the company, we were very early to agents in 2023. And we thought that we'd be able to create software that could think, reason, decide, take action, and do useful things reliably, but it was hardly a certainty. So that act of discovery and invention is certainly something I brought. And then finally, I think it's very important for a technology company, certainly a technology company that wants to exist for a while, to be in control of its own technology destiny and to be able to invent and build kind of as far down the stack as needed to be able to deliver the service that you want. Google did this with distributed computing and distributed data structures. Later, obviously, with projects like Google Brain and more recently TPUs, and boy, has that paid dividends. We're not investing at that level, but we have a research team. We've done pioneering work in agent architectures and agent evaluation because that's so central to the service we want to be able to build and deliver for our customers. So some unlearned and some brought from Google things.
Got it. Thank you for sharing. Your unlearned experience really resonates with me because my first part of my career is also a researcher, and very proud of what we invented and looking for nails.
When you have something that you worked really hard to build and that is really cool, everything looks like a nail.
Right. I have seen this so common in the workplace. So switch gears. 2025 is the year of agent, and everybody is claiming building agents. So what's your how do you define agent with the agency, and why that's so powerful for businesses?
Yeah. It's very funny. When we started the company, we had to explain to everyone, what is an agent? Even when we launched the company 18 months ago, what is an agent? We had to have a guide to agents for our customers, oh, okay, I kind of get it. One of my favorite things, by the way, is to go to the Wayback Machine from Internet Archive and just see the progression of kind of when companies that were just obviously not, AI, let alone agent companies, have slapped agent on their homepage. So I think of an agent as a piece of software that you can imbue with a goal and a set of guardrails. So its behavior is constrained within some domain, and you imbue it with knowledge, tools, and the ability to reason, make decisions, and take action in pursuit of that goal, and you let it go. And in the context of Sierra, for those of you newer to the company, we help the great businesses of the world build their own branded customer-facing AI agents for all parts of their customer experience. And the problem we're trying to solve in doing this is kind of the age-old tension between the cost and quality of how a business can serve its customers. And unless you're like, Hermes or the Four Seasons, like you're not showing up in every interaction with your customers with a concierge white glove level of service. And I think the extreme version of this is like the seventh circle of hell that we have all experienced in like the automated phone tree where, 00000, please God help me get out of this maze. So we're trying to help businesses show up at their best in every moment with their customers. And so back to your question, JC, it's we think of this as an agent in the context of customer experience as a vehicle for capturing the very best ways that a company does something. If someone walks into your store and you sell bikes, what questions would you ask? Oh, is it for you? Is it for your kid? Are you doing off-road or mostly road biking, longer trips? Well, look, we've got kind of 3 models, and this one's the fancy one is a carbon fiber fork. It's probably too much for you, right? But this one is a nice in between. How do you do kind of value discovery, help someone get to the product that is right for them? And so the value in this context is, again, whether it's technical troubleshooting or sales, the very best way you do something, and then enabling companies to show up in every interaction, at least digital interaction, with their customers at that level. From a business perspective, one of the insights we had is, okay, if you can imbue a piece of software with a goal and it can get some job done, it's a very different type of software. It is not something that helps you be 11% more productive. It's a piece of software that is performing a valuable task. And so we've really pioneered what we call outcomes-based pricing, where we only charge our customers when one of our agents successfully completes the task that it's been asked to do, whether that's resolving a technical troubleshooting issue with an ADT alarm panel or a Sonos system, or making a sale, or attaching a premium delivery service to a furniture delivery. And so it deeply aligns our incentives with our customers. The ROI case you mentioned, right? The ROI has not been visible. That is not the case with our customers. The ROI case writes itself. And something like north of 95, maybe even 97% of the proofs of concept we have done have turned into long-term, multi-year contracts and agreements with our customers because the ROI is so clear. So, software that can reason, think, decide, take action in the context of customer experience, showing up at your best again and again and again, and driving obvious ROI and business outcomes because of this pricing model that aligns our incentives with our customers.
Got it. So I will come to the outcome-based pricing later. And the next question is more about some people's perception. So the general purpose chatbots are becoming more capable, more agentic, and more personal. So what can CLS agents do that general purpose chatbots cannot?
Yeah. So first of all, there's no debate that the foundation models, the agent architectures, Agents SDK, or Agent Space, I think is Google's, they are getting more performant by the day, no doubt. It turns out, though, that the kind of last mile problem in not only integrating with an enterprise, but in our setting, understanding, well, what does a great sales process or a great trial conversion process or a great troubleshooting process look like? That last mile is more like the last 19 miles. And there's, we encounter this a lot with very technical teams where agents are just kind of catnip for engineers. Like, oh, so let me choose my language model. I'll grab a LangGraph off the shelf, or should I use Pinecone or Llama for my vector database? And I'm done. And we have this slide we call the agent iceberg. And like from above the surface of the ocean, things look easy, right? Language model, RAG, tools, great, done. And then you put on your scuba tanks and you're like, oh my God, there are 158 things that you need to solve just to be comfortable putting this thing at scale in front of your customers. And it's like, what is the release management process? What is the software development lifecycle for agents? How do you build accurate user simulations where you can have 100,000 simulated conversations with all sorts of different customers before setting an agent live in front of your actual customers. In voice, like turns out voice is just messy and hard.
Right.
We had one instance where with one of our agents in the kind of fintech area, we saw 20 or 30 conversations where the customer picks up the phone and says, "Hi, yes, I'd like chicken salad." And we're like, "Well, this is quite strange. Okay, what are we missing something here?" And we looked into it, and it was like, "Oh no, I'd like to check my balance, not I'd like chicken salad." But to the transcriber we were using at the time, for some reason, chicken salad and check my balance sound almost identical. And so language is messy. So we've had to invent interruption detection models, background noise separation, speaker diarization. We've had to do absurd things like speculative inference calls, where to mitigate latency, we actually may send 2 or 3 separate calls to models hosted on different pieces of infrastructure, grab the first one that comes back to shave off 50 milliseconds in our response. So we say, okay, you can build your own. Would you like to? It's like, oh gosh, and once they kind of see below the iceberg, I think there's a realization that, gosh, this is more complicated than it seems. So there's all the stuff below the surface of the ocean on the iceberg. And then there's just, as a company, being able to show up, not as a vendor throwing some technology over the wall, but truly as a partner to help connect the opportunities for impact with a customer-facing agent to our products and solution. Where needed, help our customers actually build their agent. And so it's not any one thing that I think makes a Sierra agent stand head and shoulders above kind of your off-the-shelf chatbot. It's many things, but boy, is there a big gap.
Right. I really like the iceberg article. If you haven't read, please check out. So it's eye-opening experience how many problems you are solving. Right? It's not like just a general purpose chatbot. Yeah. So you touch on some use cases. I want to ask a general question. So what type of business problems that enterprises are solving using your technology, your agent?
Yeah. So at a high level, first of all, everyone here is AI and customer service or experience and goes to customer support automation. Yes. We do that. We're the category leaders in the space. We do it exceptionally well. We're saving our customers tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. And so, yes, the much more interesting thing, some background music, the much more interesting thing is helping businesses grow their business, driving revenue. And so it's sales and product recommendations. If you're in the market for a new mattress and you talk to Luna, the Casper agent, Luna will help you make sense of, well, what are it was inner spring versus foam, latex foam versus memory foam, and all of the other different options there, and help you figure out what mattress is right and best for you. If you're buying a piece of furniture from one of the largest furniture retailers in the country, and you're interacting with the agent we built with and for them, that agent will help you figure out, okay, is the sofa going to be able to get through the doorway? What are the measurements? Help schedule a pretty complex delivery, and maybe suggest, hey, we actually have a premium delivery service where we can remove your old mattress or old sofa, get everything up and running for you. We do churn management. So if someone's writing in, it's like, I'm thinking about canceling. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. What do you listen to? Oh, got it. Just music, not talk radio. We actually have a better package for you that is a third the cost. We can get you set up on that. And by the way, there's this live show with this musician you love next week. Can we keep you on the plan? So it really spans all parts of the customer experience. And we excel in retail. I think by Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we will reach probably 90% of Americans in retail. Today, we work with several of the largest healthcare payers and providers in the country. We reach probably north of 50% of families in the U.S. Through their healthcare plans. And financial services, telecommunications, consumer technology. Sonos is one of our customers, and I was actually very proud. We've even invented new kind of technical workarounds for some common issues that come up with Sonos systems. We can debug your Wi-Fi. So it's really every part of how businesses, both B2C and B2B, interact with their customers. And again, the opportunity goes so far beyond cost savings. It is, we think, much more about growing the business, growing revenue, and improving how you show up with your customers in every moment.
Got it. So when an enterprise deploy an AI agent, what metrics do they care the most? And because your pricing model is based on outcomes, so you must have a good understanding of the outcomes.
So there are some quite common standard ones. One is CSAT or NPS, just like how are you handling our customers? We're super proud. In a significant majority of our customers, CSAT with our AI agent, with the Sierra agent, is higher than in any other channel they have. Chat with the live person, speaking with a live person on the phone. That's a big deal. And that was frankly surprising to us. Brett and I had a bet about that, as well as kind of what % of cases are we able to resolve. So just what is the quality of the customer experience is number one. Number two is we call it the resolution rate. In the industry previously, it was deflection rate or containment rate. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to be contained. I don't want to be deflected. I want to have my problem solved. And so across our customer base, 70%, 80%, Ramp with Ramp Assist is able to resolve 90% of all of their customers' questions with the agent that they built with and on the Sierra platform. And so it's resolution rate, and of course, that translates to cost savings. And then finally, revenue. What is the revenue impact? And so we are meaningfully impacting churn rate, retention rate for the better. And so across those three, I think those are the most common yardsticks that customers kind of measure the performance of their AI agent with.
Got it. It's very admirable you adopted the outcome-based pricing, because doing so, you take all the risks. Because if you don't deliver the outcome customer want, then you don't get paid.
There's a confidence in it. There's also something very subtle, which is typically in enterprise software, in a negotiation around price, or it's like you and I are sitting across the table from one another, right? And it's like you're trying to get the price down, I'm trying to get the price up. We're trying to argue that, each seat will raise productivity by X or whatever. When we only win when you win, it's kind of like we're on the same side of the table, looking across at the AI agent, being like, well, we got to make you good, because only if you're good, right, does your business succeed, and do we get paid? And it's subtle, but a big deal. And our customers really appreciate it. And it enables us to show up much more as a partner, a true partner, than kind of a vendor trying to sell a widget.
Yeah, so you must be super confident in the performance of your AI agent.
We are. We stand by our product, and they're doing just exceptional things for our customers. And again, I think that confidence being reflected in our business model. We built a platform and a product we're super proud of. It's making a very significant impact for our customers, and it comes through from the first conversation where we describe how we price. We're like, whoa, that's different. Huh? Okay, it must be good. It's like, it is.
Yeah, so you're really taking the lead in adopting the outcome-based pricing in the agent space, because the first one must be the first one, probably is the only one. Only company.
I don't know that it's the only. I think we've certainly been opinionated, visible, and really led in this space. I think we have the definitive blog post written by our kind of head of revenue operations, and it was something that actually Brett and I were very deeply involved in inventing and creating from the beginning. It was just from first principles. Here's software that can do a job. What is the right way to charge for that job? It's not on a per message basis. It's not on a consumption basis. It's definitely not on a seat basis. It's like, did it do the job? We'll charge for that. That's the insight.
Yeah, so the biggest challenge is how do you measure outcomes? So do you rely on an owner system based on customer self-reporting, or you instrument everything?
First of all, JC, I'm seeing we're getting paged on 1 minute left, so I'll answer quickly. Some outcomes are very clear. The agent processed a warranty and drop shipped a new pair of shoes. The agent successfully negotiated saving a customer and put someone on a new plan. Others are clear in a different way. You know, CSAT 5, it's clear that the customer's question was answered. And so we have basically tags or triggers where, okay, this was a successful outcome. Those are easy to measure. There's a gray zone. You know, it's not every interaction. I'm sure you don't all leave interactions. You have, oh, I was completely and fully satisfied. Thank you. I won't contact you for 72 hours. You know, 5 stars. That definitely resolved my problem. And so there's a gray zone. And we have, for that narrow gray zone, basically a way of building some blended rate into the overall price that reflects that in some cases we're just not sure. And rather than getting really fancy about it, we have some baseline and we generally just give, you know, the benefit of the doubt and undercharge as opposed to overcharge. And it all kind of works out.
Got it. So let's get on the technical side a little bit. So customer call center handles huge volumes of voice calls. Yeah. So quality of voice is very, very critical. So how do you design voice for a brand who the voice must be like empathetic to customer's problem and project a brand's voice and so on. So do you design your own and let customers customize?
It's such a great question. And one of the opportunities, right, if the way businesses are going to interact with their customers is with an agent. That agent needs to reflect not only the functional capabilities of the company, but also its brand, its voice, its values, its tone, and so on. And so we actually have on staff someone we call our voice sommelier. So it's like the wine guy, but for voices. And there's a lot of nuance to get right in a voice: the timbre, the pitch, the tone, the breathiness. Other terms, he speaks, and it's like the sommelier. Oh, this smells like decaying candied violets in the wine. You're like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but sure. All this is to say we put a lot of care into the craft of voices. And with many of our customers, actually, we and they hire voice actors that really match kind of what they want to project. And in a couple-hour recording session, we create a custom voice. Our platform is highly modular, so you can swap in and out different voices. Not only voices, but languages. We speak 34, soon to be 37 by the end of this month. And so it's having someone who is really an artist of voice on staff to help work with our customers, and then the modularity of the platform to include a voice that really represents the brand. That's the approach we take.
Yeah. Great. So our time is quickly running out, and this is such a great conversation. So we can go on for another half an hour. So, but we have to wrap up. So I will ask one last question. So, what new development on the horizon you feel most excited about?
I think broadly, AI is and will be an amplifier of good taste, of good judgment, of creativity. And if you have something here that you want to exist in the world, right? It's an accelerant. Shortcut sounds negative. It sounds like you're cutting corners. I don't think that's the case. But it's an amplifier of ideas. And what I'm really excited about as agents in kind of all of these different spaces, coding, marketing, physical design, and CAD, right, become more and more advanced, I think we're going to see an explosion of what I would describe as like micro-entrepreneurship. There's something we saw with the rise of Instagram, where suddenly someone who was really into making very heavy tungsten spinning tops could make them and reach the 280,000 people in the world who were also really into tungsten spinning tops. I, by the way, am one of them. Thank you, Tungsten Spinning Top Company. And so the targeting ability of Instagram made it possible to create this very small business. But not everyone can build a 5 or 10 person company like that. They may not have the resources, they may not have the capabilities, the connections. But if someone with a great idea could summon, right, a set of agents to kind of like a mech suit around them to help them get a new business, a new idea off the ground and get what it is they have in their head into the world, whether it's a physical product, a piece of software, even if it's only valuable for 50,000 people in the world. You just imagine, right, all of the value, all of the goodness, all of the creativity that will emerge from that. I think that's super exciting. And I think in the next couple of years, as these kind of persona and role specific agents emerge and become more capable, that's going to be a big deal in the economy. That's going to be a big deal in entrepreneurship and building companies, and something that simply wouldn't have been possible without the kind of force multiplying effects of AI. So I'm quite optimistic about that and excited to see, what are the next 10,000 awesome companies that emerge from it. So, JC, thank you so much for having me. A real pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective and insights. That's super
Thank you so
helpful.
much.
I learned a lot.
Thank you, JC.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.